People without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture are like a tree without its roots, said Marcus Garvey once. Welcome to ET's History Talks. The ability to fly has always been the greatest dream of man. The invention of aircraft was one of the most enduring achievements of mankind. The day when the Wright brothers made their first flight stands above all in the history of aviation. Yes, in today's episode, we are going to watch and learn more about the Wright brothers and the very first flight made by them.
The ability to fly has always been the greatest dream of man. The invention of the aircraft was one of the most enduring achievements of mankind. The day when the Wright brothers made their first flight stands above all in the history of aviation and an important setup for the mankind. Two brothers, Orville Wright and Wilbur Wright, were behind this magnificent accomplishment. On December 17, 1903, the Wright brothers flew the world's first flight, the Wright Flyer. The Wright brothers' interest in aircraft began in 1896 with the death of the glider pioneer Otto Lilienthal. Karl Wilhelm Otto Lilienthal was a German pioneer of aviation who became known as the Flying Man. He was the first person to make successful flights with gliders. Otto Lilienthal was a German civil engineer who flew exquisite gliders constructed of willow and waxed cotton over lengths of up to 800 feet. His glider stalled in 1896 and he couldn't regain control. He broke his neck after falling from roughly 15 meters and died the next day. Even after the death, Lilienthal had been a source of inspiration to the Wright brothers. Wilbur chose Kitty Hawk in North Carolina for their flying test since he was interested in the wind there. There were no hills and trees, thus making it safer to practice there. Kitty Hawk provided the brothers with an ideal testing ground to test all their theories about flying. To build up the first aircraft, the Wright brothers started experimenting with kite and glider designs. Glider pilots in the past controlled their gliders by moving their body weight along. The Wright brothers, on the other hand, developed a more elegant solution. They twisted the aircraft's wingtips in opposite directions to alter airflow across the wings. The twist caused differing amounts of lift on each wing, causing the plane to lean to one side. The pilot used wires attached to a hip cradle to regulate the bending of the Wright Flyer's wing tips. The pilot may then steer by moving his hips from side to side. It was this breakthrough that laid the foundation of the future experiments of the Wright brothers. There were years of hardship behind this endeavor. The Wright brothers did the wind tunnel test and hundreds of gliding tests during 1901 and 1902. These tests resulted in better aircraft designs. This included providing an engine to their flyer. Calculating they just need 8 horsepower to fly their machine, the Wrights built their own lightweight engine. Such advancement paved the way for the aircraft that would fly for the first time December 17, 1903. Orville got into the cockpit. The Wright flyer took off from Kitty Hawk's level ground and flew for a full 12 seconds before landing with a thud 120 feet away. The brothers flew 4 times that day, the last of which covered 852 feet and lasted nearly a minute, ushering the world into the age of aviation for good. However, when out about 800 feet, the machine began pitching again and in one of its darts downward struck the ground. The distance over the ground was measured to be 852 feet. The time of the flight was 59 seconds. The frame supporting the front rudder of the aircraft was badly broken, but the main part of the machine was not damaged at all. The Wrights then sent a telegram about the flights to their father requesting that he should inform the press. However, the local newspaper Dayton Journal refused to publish the story, saying the flights were too short to be reported. Meanwhile, a telegraph operator, against the brothers' wish, smuggled their messages to a Virginia newspaper, which invited a grossly false news story that was reprinted the next day in various. Meanwhile, a telegraph operator, against the brothers' wishes, smuggled their message to a Virginia newspaper, which invited a grossly false news story that was reprinted the next day in various newspapers around the country, including Dayton. Many of the basic concepts and techniques of contemporary aeronautical engineering were pioneered by the Wrights, including the use of a wind tunnel and flight testing as design tools. Their major feat included not only the groundbreaking first flight of an airplane, but also the equally significant achievement of laying the groundwork for aeronautical engineering, which was a breakthrough for many other significant inventions in this particular field.
Many of the basic concepts and techniques of contemporary aeronautical engineering were pioneered by the Wrights. The invention of this Wright flyer was indeed a major breakthrough in the history of aviation. So that's all about today's video. Thank you for watching.